Hey guys, welcome to my guide on the hatch, which I have decided to do because I feel like the hatch is a bit of a tricky subject as well. So this guide will explain how the spawning of the hatch works, the mechanics of the hatch, items that have influence on the hatch standoff, which you might already be familiar with, hatch spawns as well, and then I'll try and provide some practical examples after all this theory. Now this guide is mainly meant for new players, but it doesn't mean you can still learn something. So let's get started. If you don't already know, the hatch is the second way besides the exit gates to escape from the map. So the rules of the hatch is not that advanced actually when you think about it. Basically, for the hatch to spawn, it's one generator plus per survivor alive. So basically, if you have 4 survivors alive, you need to do 5 generators. If you have 3 survivors alive, you need to do 4. If you have 2 survivors alive, you need to do 3. And if you're the last one alive, you only need to do 2 generators for it to spawn. So for the hatch to actually open, you need to be the last survivor alive in the map. That basically means that everyone else on your team needs to be dead. However, there is another way for the hatch to be open, and that is through the skeleton key and the door key. The broken key will not open the hatch, so don't try and do that. It'll probably get super awkward as you stand there trying to do it. When you jump into the hatch normally without the key, you will get 5,000 points in survival. You will get 2,000 points in objective. If you use a key, you will get 4,000 points in objective, but separately by 2,000 points, and then obviously 5,000 for survival, so a total of 9,000 points with the key. Be aware that when you do use the keys, if you're trying to coordinate with your teammates and stuff, the hatch will only be open for 30 seconds, and that is despite using the real key or just the door key, it doesn't matter. To jump into the hatch, you need to press M1, and to use the key, you also need to press M1. You can enter the hatch through normal stage, through injured state, and through dying state. Be aware that the killer can grab you in normal state and in injured state, but he cannot grab you in dying state. And I think this is to do with the fact that the game thinks you are still downed. The killer cannot grab you if he tries to lunge. He has to do a simple M1 melee attack to grab you. As for patch 3.0, you can now enter the hatch from all the sides, whereas previously you could only enter the hatch from the front. To enter the hatch, you will always be entering it from the front side. So say you click M1 on the side of the hatch, you will then be sort of teleported to the front side of the hatch, and then you will jump into it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it actually is quite useful to know, especially if you get the trapper or you are the trapper, because all the trapper has to do is place a trap at the front side of the hatch, and then if you then click on the side of the hatch, you will then loop over to the front side and actually go into the hatch. So if you play trapper, just place a trap at the front side of the hatch, and that's all you need to do for the actual trap on the hatch. I recommend you just place traps around it, I guess, if you want to. If you want to try and find a hatch, then I recommend you take the map, which allows you to track stuff, and you put the black silk cord add-on on with the green stamp, as black silk cord allows you to track black locks, which is also hatches, and later on in the game will probably be other ways to escape the map besides the gate and the hatch. The green stamp is for increasing the range of the map, which will increase your chance of obviously finding the hatch quicker. If you're playing with friends and you go like, oh, let's all escape through the hatch, I recommend that you take glass bead on, which creates like a beam on the actual hatch for everyone to see, and it will stay there for a long, long time. Or you can put on the crystal bead, which will allow you to show what everyone else is, so everyone basically can see what you also are seeing. And obviously, TeamSpeak is also nice for this. And if you do go in with the mindset of we want to go through the hatch and the 2 sides, then remember to bring in 2 keys or 1 map or something. Always bring 1 extra key in, because if the person with the key on dies, then you can't even open the hatch. You can always try and find it regardless. And also to quickly mention about the key, if you bring in the add-on that says do not lose this key if you die, then when you do die, it will actually disappear off the map and your teammates can't pick it up, and that gets really fucking awkward. Now, let's talk about where the hatch actually spawns, because that was something I wanted to cover as well. Now, I have taken like a billion pictures of the hatch spawns, and I could show them. I have like 50 pictures of something stupid, but there's a slight problem. It's too many pictures for this video. I don't want to make the video too long, and basically, it's too unpredictable anyway. There's like 100 spawns in each map or something, and there's no way you're gonna be able to find it just by memorizing. So I'm just gonna go through like a general spawning rule. Okay, so first of all, the hatch cannot spawn inside the basement. It can spawn inside the shack. It cannot spawn on second floor, so that'll be like upstairs in the asylum. It will be like on the second floor on the cold tower, etc., etc. Um, so if we start map by map, the asylum. Look around the asylum outside, in between the rocks and the walls. It usually does spawn there more than often. Sometimes the hills as well. If you're on Haddonfield, it's not too bad of an idea to just look down the road. It does spawn there by the cars. Sometimes in between the big spaces of the cars. If you play on Autohaven, actually away from the buildings, funny enough, and in between the walls and the rocks. If you're on Cobble Farm, it'll be something like near the buildings again, or on the actual cornfield. As for Macmillan, I often find it's at the outskirts of the map, if there's no buildings, so like Shelterwoods. But like if there is, it is near the buildings. And it has a tendency to spawn where the basement also is, like not in it because it can't, but around it. Let's move on to the Hatch Standoff, which is something that often happens in Dead by Daylight, which is where either the killer or the survivors find the hatch first and they just basically stand on it and nothing happens. And the reason for this is, let's look from the killer perspective. So, if the survivor and the killer stands on the hatch and the killer hits the survivor will jump in the hatch. And the reason why the survivor does this is because the killer will be on cooldown. He cannot grab you while you're jumping down the hatch. As for the survivor's perspective, all the survivor basically has to do is just stand there and wait for the killer's first move. If the survivor does take a hit, he can then jump in the hatch and be fairly safe. There is not much that can actually counter this, really. The only one that could possibly counter the Hatch Standoff would be Michael Myers with the Tombstone or the Rock add-on, because he could basically just moor you on the spot. It doesn't matter if you can even chainsaw them, because they can still get down, and they can actually just click on the hatch and jump into it. However, the priority system might fuck up, because guess what? The key for jumping in the hatch and the key for recovering is, funny enough, the same. Now, one of the things that actually solved the hatch standoff for the survivors is this hatch is right. But because basically you can jump in the hatch, the killer grabs you, you stab him in the throat, and you jump off, and you jump in the hatch, and that's what does it. Now, it's been frustrating for the killers, but that's just how it is. But as a killer, I would recommend you try and find the survivor before he finds the hatch, unless you want to stand there for 2 hours. And one of the good specs for this is whispers, because guess what? Whispers can't be countered by anything. So it's actually pretty strong. It basically means you can text survivors within a 30-meter radius. So you find a hatch and you go like, oh, is whispers active? No. Okay, I'm gonna go somewhere else and try and find him. Is it active? Okay, I better like stay around and patrol a bit. Also be aware, if you can hit the survivor 2 times before he gets to the hatch, he's all yours. But if you can't, then he's pretty safe. As for the 2-hit, Unrelenting and Save Best for Last is stupidly good together here, as you can get 2 hits off quickly on the survivor. When the hatch does actually spawn and your last survivor alive, it will like give like a clonk when it opens, and it will give a very distinct and familiar like bossing sound, like off as well. Now for some practical examples of the trapper. So I mentioned before, when you play the trapper, the most important place to place the trap is right in front of the trap, because it doesn't matter where the survivor will be entering the hatch, he will always loop back to the front, because it's just how it works. So there's no point putting it right here on the side, no point putting it in the middle or the other side. It doesn't matter, don't put it behind. You could try and put two, but the problem with that is that it won't work, because you have to have a certain distance between the traps. There's no point putting two traps. You could also try putting in front of it, like closer, so it might be hidden like this. But if the survivor then gets down on it, he might be able to press one and crawl into the trap. The example of where if you're down, the killer cannot grab you. The example of opening the hatch with the key, which can only be opened from the front side. Example that when you cannot lunge and grab a survivor. Well, I had to go out. Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Eh? Eh? What you gonna do? I could let him grab me and do the decisive strike on him. Would that be fun? Oh yeah, but I can do the decisive strike and then jump down the hatch. Ah, yes. If he drops me, can I just jump down the hatch? Hmm. Eh, eh, eh. I would like to try and do it. It could be really funny. If I if I do from the thing is you can do it from different angles. So I guess what if I do from yeah, because I could go from this angle, but then I'm gonna go back to him. But I could go from the side, like this. Should we try? Woo!
Iris, come here.
Oh.
I'm-
Oh, nice. Hurry, hurry.
Oh my god. Yeah.
No.
Open the gate. Open the fucking hatch. Open it, open it, open it, open it!